Dating advice. I think this is a subject that a lot of younger people, even older people, they need a lot more discussion based on it. And I think a lot of us, we just make it up as we go. This has been my experience. In I'm basically going to share what I have learned over my years of pursuing, watching, observing, and just witnessing firsthand accounts of relationships that have worked, haven't worked, into the reasons why they haven't, and the reasons why I think they could have or should have, etc. So let's see what we can get into. When we were younger, ages what, like 10, 12 on up, 14, 15, we're all about like, wow, that girl is really hot. We use the words hot, sexy. We might be more like, oh, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous. But I don't think at that point we don't really understand what we're talking about necessarily. At least guys. Girls might have more of a mature perspective towards it, but I've seen not so much, and I've seen like both spectrums, I should say. When we get older and older, we get more mature, so then our understanding of what love is matures on. But it's more than that. I think it's from what we get to experience and witness firsthand through our parents, through those we kind of, hold and kind of like cherish their point of views and respect. So like our grandparents to friends, we learn more of love through the media, but that's where I think, are learning love in such a wrong way. And I guess let me explain why. Many of us were told, pursue after the girl, and like go get their number, and then you start flirting, and hopefully you get their number in the process of the flirting process, right? Sometimes you get rejected, and then some guys and girls, even if they're the ones trying to get the number, if they get rejected, they get more and more insecure about, well, am I likable? And then, you get more of that going on. I think girls experience more firsthand, well, if a guy never asked for my number, am I likable? Am I hot? Am I gorgeous, sexy, etc.? Do I look, alright? Is my hair good? Do I smell good? And we have all these insecurities start coming at us. And I think this starts happening from many of the ages of us pursuing after someone. And I think society or mainstream media, through like movies and all, they're teaching, well, things just happen so quick. In a relationship, that is. Things just go boom, 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 boom. In a true relationship, shouldn't be just instantaneous, because you need to get your groundworks figured out. And what I mean by that is, take movies, take a lot of relationships I've seen, and I've experienced myself even, clings or flings, whatever you want to call them. A lot of them have basically ended short-handed based off stages being so skipped. Stages of, importantly, like friendship. Friendship is vitally important. Like, you gotta understand one another to really connect. And I think a lot of us, we have a connection moment. So then we ask for the number, and we get the number, and then we just go from there, and we quantum leap into like a relationship. And then you go into heartbreak. And then what happens on both parties' sides is, the more heartbreak you go through, the more trust issues you have. If your parents have divorced, you're going to have more trust issues, to the point eventually, you hit in the age where maybe you should pursue dating, ages 18 through on 20-ish. And by this point, you're already emotionally damaged. You're wrecked. Completely, trust has been broken. People have said stuff and never kept their word. But the reason is, they're still a kid themselves. They're still immature, still learning. And I think this gives a lot of people a bad representation of what love is. And I think the sooner you get into relationships when you're younger, the sooner you're going to be broken, to the point maybe when you're in your 20s and 30s and even 40s, you're still having a baby ideal of love. And you're going back to what mainstream has taught us. It's so fast-paced, so boom, 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 boom. Slow is fast when it comes to relationships and just human interaction. Slow is incredibly fast, because slow is usually understood and fast is just assuming. We're great at assuming. Human psychologists have really, really proven this very well. We assume more than we know. We assume and think and believe when there's so much more to be asked and said from each other to really actually know. And I think we have this in relationships where I feel like we get along really well. I feel this love. I feel this and this and this. And what people don't realize is your body's on a dopamine high right now. So you really, really are feeling this love. But wait a sec. It's fake. Yeah, let that settle a sec. It's fake in the aspect you're so high on that moment, on the love, that you think you're in love. But you have to go through a lot more experiences within your relationship, in as you as a person, for it to really be like, well, do we actually really connect, and can we actually communicate and actually get through tough moments? Because this is what, friends do. This is what life does to you. If you can individually get through a situation and you have a mature enough mindset to get through it in a healthy way, you can get through a relationship. As in, a relationship shouldn't fall apart based off life throwing its disasters at you, its ups and downs. I think a lot of us teenagers, we don't understand psychology enough to be aware of the love high part. Statistically proven, most relationships, depending on the personality type, and I also believe depends on your emotional EQ, not necessarily IQ, but your emotional EQ of self-awareness to yourself, thus to your individual or significant other, will determine this love high phase. So statistically, most love highs last 6 months to 2 years. And it really depends on how these 2 years go. And sometimes it's 2 years, I think, depending on the personality type. If people are not really having heart-to-heart talks, it might take 2 years. And I think and say that based off, if you have heart-to-heart talks through communication, you're going to get to know someone, and you're going to be able to really see one another for who they are. As you experience more, you get to see someone's true colors. So sometimes it might take 2 or 3 years or less to see someone's true colors through whatever life brings at them. If life, there's a lot of problems, a lot of just really tough situations, you're going to get to know someone really quick, and this is going to help you see how they handle that situation. A lot of us, I believe 100%, when things are good and happy, it's easy to kind of show our best self, because reality, we're not really struggling to really know, well, who am I? And I think that's coming to another point. Before you enter in a relationship, I think we all should be really healthy in these aspects. So as you're entering ages 15 on up, and hopefully prior to that, so ages like 10 through 12 is the age of reasoning. It should be usually more around the age of 12 on up, you really start hitting the age of reasoning, as in you're starting to question why to everything, to the point rebellious attitudes of yourself can kind of form, because your parents say do this, but you have the mentality of why should I do this? Your teachers say do this, and your mentality is why do this? So this is the age where, if you're a parent, give very good details to why you say anything, because your kid is going to question it and question it again. And this is statistically proven. Even if you tell them the end result, their curiosity in that moment of craziness, hormone based, plus just how their mind's working, they're going to do stupid, crazy stuff. And this actually happens till almost the age of 18 to 19, and all the way up to about 22 to 23, depending on the person and depending on a lot of circumstances. But around these ages, you do more stupider stuff based off hormone-based realities, and it sucks. That's why a lot of people, they get high, they drink, and they do stupid stuff that they might have been told, well, this is dangerous, and if you do this, this could happen, but they don't care. And I won't get into the whole science behind that, but it's something to be aware of. But in the process of coming through this, you can find yourself and establish yourself, and this is where it gets super huge, and this is going to forever help you find your significant other. So once you're hitting the ages 22, 23-ish, you are developing, and you should know who you are way more. Now, give or take, this is a huge give or take though. Depends on the amount of drugs you have basically put in your body. Now, people might not agree with me with this, but say if you're smoking a lot of weed, you're drinking a lot, popping pills even, your brain's not having the full potential to see reality for reality. On a hormonal based side, it's not really adapting to healthy standards of life. And I need to do more research, and I think psychologists and just people in general need to do way more research in this area of field, and I know it will happen as time goes on. But if we can already have enough science to prove that you're not fully towards yourself, guys, they have really already said this a lot, more towards like 25, you're more mature, more just sensible, understandable. And girls, I think, just hide it better. And the reason why I say to hide it better is because I feel like girls too, can just be just as lost and confused in life. If we can know what we want to do in our life and do this independently, and what I mean by independently, not being influenced by emotional pressure by, say, your significant other if you're dating someone, this is going to help you establish yourself better and easier, and you're going to really have a vision. Now please listen on. The reason why I've come to this conclusion is based off, I've seen so many people have such potential, but then their significant other is going through emotional trauma and personal issues, so they're helping them get through it. Now, give or take, give a lot, that is healthy, and you should have this happen. But you're at the age of, I don't want to say selfishness, but you should be way more self-centered of development of who you are and what you stand for and what you want to do in life. Someone that I take great respect in recently basically, told me they're just focusing on themselves. They're developing who they are. And you gotta admire it and respect it. And I guess it has led me to make this video because I see a lot of purpose in it, tons of purpose in it. I've kind of always had this impression myself, well, establish who you are, become the greatest you as best as possible, and get more stability within your life, more of a focus in a direction, and then go worry about dating. And it really has a lot of power once you hold on to it, because if you're having a lot of people in your life, especially like a significant other, it's a lot of personal time, and it's a lot of personal brain power going in a direction that it doesn't need to be going in that current moment. Now, a lot of people are going to hate me for saying stuff like this based off society teaches complete different. Oh, if you have this love connection, go for it. But once you understand every single person you come across can almost have a love high if, of course, you're attracted to them, you basically connect and relate really well, you're going to have this love high, but give it a month or two or less and tell me if that love high is there. If it's there, it's probably because they're complimenting you. You might be already having sex by this point. You might be doing something that's continuously releasing a dopamine into your mind. Once you realize love is a lot of chemical based stuff, don't get me wrong, doesn't mean love isn't true, isn't important, but it should help teenagers to realize true love is a choice. And I'll get into this a little later. Well, I'll say this for now. True love is you committing to someone and choosing to stay, because eventually this love high will go away. And then you're going to be asking, do I love him? Do I love him? You should, because you chose to love them. So love isn't really emotion based. Love is just a word. Love is the action. So if you love someone, you try to make them feel their best, and you hope in return they do this in return. But this is getting to the key point of why I'm saying this. You got to be mature yourself. You got to be balanced emotionally, physically. You got to just be really balanced. But to balance yourself, you got to be knowing you. And to do this, the best way to do this is your alone time. And as I get older, and people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, I hope they still do this. Even if you're in a relationship and you're very personal to them, have your alone time. And when you're within your alone time, bring God into it. Why? Because God's going to help you get through your own personal issues. And this leads to like people my age now. I'm only 21 right now, almost 22. You don't need to be in a relationship to feel so fulfilled, so great. If you invite God into your life, you can have that. Having someone else in your life is an honor. It's nothing that you need though. A lot of people will disagree, but with discipline, you don't need someone in your life to feel complete. If you think you do, this is where you're not really knowing yourself and you're not knowing your potential. Once you feel super great towards what you're doing, having a vision, a passion, and you're going forth in that, people are going to be attracted to you. Girls will be attracted to you. If you're a girl and you're really ambitious, really going, some guys might be timid towards you, but the right guy is going to love it. Why? Because they're going to see, wow, this person really established himself. This person really went forth their passion in life. Their mind is engaged, and that's attractive. If a guy's after you because of looks, I'm sorry, get that guy out of your life. You don't need someone that's just lusting after you. You need someone who wants to be a part of you. And this kind of leads to another aspect. Once you're hitting your ages 23, 24, 25, 26 on up, depending on, I guess, college experiences and whatnot, within that time period, even maybe sooner, maybe 21, 22, 23, it depends when you start college, you're going to find your significant other perhaps at a college, perhaps through a job that maybe was real tech oriented. And the reason I'm saying all this is you're going to find people that have similar minds and similar interests. But say if you date someone way back, 14, 15, you're in high school, you're still figuring out who you want to be. Please don't misinterpret. I think people that fall in love in that time period can have a great relationship if they choose to love, because love is a choice. But they might not have found someone who could have helped them fulfill their passion and dreams as much as if they would have waited until they found someone in the same field they're in. Too many of us were just like, love is love and work is work. I believe personally they go hand in hand, because if they go hand in hand, you're going to have a lot to talk about. If you find someone with similar passion, similar oriented mind thoughts, religion-based things on that aspects, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot for you to fall back onto during those boring moments in life, because life will have those boring moments. It just happens. My call to every single young person is find yourself. Get emotionally intelligent with who you are. Know who you are. Know why you stand for what you stand. Write this stuff down. Be able to have a conversation with someone that is having depth, not so shallow. Not just like, I found them because I was partying, I was drinking, I was out sky cliff jumping or whatever. Those are good things, not necessarily the partying part, but like skydiving and activities towards like biking, hiking, etc. Those aren't bad activities, but you need really deep depth to have a really deep relationship. And that's, I guess, what I'm learning. For me, I've learned this the hard way. I'm very quick at thinking, but very quick at jumping based off my emotional EQ abilities, meaning I can pretty much come across a girl, find a lot of similar interests, and I like jump in because of that. I feel like this connection's made, and I'm not lying or lying to myself towards the other person. Tons of connections are being made, but the question is, should they be made? And I guess what I mean by that is, I can see beauty in every single person. I can see connections in every single person based off my ability to have great passion in lots of areas of life. I don't want to pride on myself or say I'm better than anyone else, but I'm very quick at learning stuff if my passion's there. So take a girl, for example. My mind is very actively processing, speeding the potential realities that could lay within there. So I'm like a Taylor Swift, and I guess what do I mean by that? Taylor Swift, she goes through so much heartbreak, you would seem like in her music, and it seems like she falls in love quick. And I feel like a lot of people, not everyone by all means, but a lot of people have this potential personality, mind oriented, I guess, setting of how they think and feel towards others. I fall in love with all kinds of people quick, in aspects of them. So like, what I mean by that is, I might love how they say something, how they're passionate towards this. This is me saying, wow, I see you're awesome, I appreciate it, and I want you to know that, right? And when it comes to like girls, for me, in my past, I will let them know 2-3 days within, sometimes that very day, like, wow, I saw all this in you, and I think that freaked them out. But I think I'm a rare type of breed, and what I mean by that is I don't hear too many guys that are like me, per se. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but it is what it is, and I've learned through tons of disastrous encounters, and it's been helpful. And I'm sharing this now to hopefully help those who might be more like me, or those who get into relationships and they're wondering what's going on, why in the beginning was I feeling so amazing towards this person, but now I feel awkward, I feel distant. Potentially your love height faded. Potentially the other person wasn't into you as much as you were into them. Potentially they didn't know that love is a choice, and it's you choosing to daily go after them, and daily them coming after you, to make this bridge connect, and thus connection through conversation, through speaking, through activities take place. And this is where relationship happens. But this is where friendship can happen. And I want to encourage everyone my age, that's what you need in life. You need to have years of experience with friends and people of opposite sex to know, well, I like this in this type of person, I like this in this type of person. And then eventually, as you learn through friendships and you start asking this question, well, maybe I should date someone, you can really start deciding, well, who would really make me a better me? And then in return, how can I make that person a better them? And I think that's powerful. I think that's being selfish, but also selfless. And what I mean by that is, if you get in a relationship because someone's really hot, someone's just really financially ahead, more selfish-based reasons, you're being very selfish, and that's not love. Love isn't selfish. Love is selfless. And you want to create a friendship that is a best friend friendship, so then as your relationship establishes and goes forth, you see the power within that, and you see a connection that only grows, in this power of love that only gets higher and higher. Because as you achieve your goals and you find people with similar interests, you're not just achieving your goal, you're helping them to achieve their goal, and it's vice versa, and you're just building this powerhouse of love. And I think if you add God into it all, it just makes it even more beautiful, because God is the glue to all love. He's the one who holds everything together. And a lot of people, younger people I should say, they don't realize this. They jump stages. Like I have jumped way too many stages in pretty much every single relationship I've ever tried to go after. And the one I've always jumped was establishing friendship, establishing that best friend, because society teaches, well, you go get their number and then you date them. What? You don't know the person, you're getting to know them as you're dating them, and people are like, well, that's a part of the dating process. No, that's a way to break your heart or someone else's heart while you figure out, what, do I like them, don't I like them? That is bringing more damage to the world than good. If you would establish best friends with all of your associated people you're associating with, eventually something's going to click, and you can make things go to the next level if both choose. And I feel like it's not too hard to detect if someone's into you. I'm very self-aware, I should say, with my emotions. And with that being said, I'm very aware of other people's emotions based off that. In so many people I run across, I can tell they're into me. And I get to choose, well, how can I respond? How should I respond? And I'm choosing from now on, just respond in a friendship. Don't allow anything else to go any farther. Why? Because I know the psychology now behind how the mind works, to the point I want someone to like and respect me for all of me, and I want to in return do the same towards them. And I feel like just in love in general, you should always respect people regardless. But to take it to the next level and have such a personal one-on-one relationship that's going to last forever, that is something that should take time. And if it just happens all of a sudden, that's being immature. And I can guarantee you that relationship can last if, again, you choose to stay, but you're going to go through some troubling time periods because you really don't know one another. You may believe you do, but until you have heart-to-heart conversations and make this a daily reality, it won't work, because you're just playing a face that you want to show. I want to make a video later on just that aspect of why people are this way one moment, that way the next moment, and that way, and it's all based off mindset-oriented faces they're showing society. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please comment and share. Thank you.